Welcome, everybody, to our 2024 Wapsie Valley baseball season. I am joined by our legendary Wapsie Valley coaches, Tom Joecken and Collin Bergmann. Well, guys, you ready to talk some baseball?
Yep.
Always.
Yeah?
100%.
Just got done with practice. How'd practice go?
Went well. I'm sore.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Threw a lot of batting practice to every kid that came.
Yeah, you took one off. What was it, off the knee?
Yeah, we'll say it was the knee.
Yeah, you came in, you taking batting practice, and boy, somehow one ball got right in between those protectors that you have.
One always finds me.
So, yeah. So anyway, hey, we're going to talk a little bit about first. Let's talk about last season. Let's try to kind of wrap that up. Let's see, this finished 24-14.
13.
24-14, right?
13.
13? Okay, maybe I wrote that down. Well, it was their best finish since 2019.
Yep.
That team had 27 wins. You were 8-4 in conference, finished in second place on our conference, and you had a 2-week stretch of games where you went 10-1. Mm-hmm. So, talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on last year. And
last year was fun. Probably the second best win team we've ever had in 10 years.
Third game of the year, beat Dyke New Hartford.
They
were ranked too, weren't they?
At the time, yeah.
At the time they were ranked. I think it was my second ever win against Dyke New Hartford.
Was it?
Yeah. So it was a good one.
And they had a guy that going on to college, right, to play ball?
I believe he went to Central and then ended up at Wartburg, followed that coach to Wartburg, and I don't think he's playing anymore, but I...
Oh, really? But that was a nice win, the third game of the year, and that followed just our very first game where we kind of got roughed up by East in the first game of the season.
Yep.
But that win against Dyke was really nice. It went 3-0 against Key.
Yep.
How often do you play a team 3 times? Not in your conference.
Yep.
Well, and Key's normally really good every year. I mean, they're
very good.
They're a team that usually goes to state quite often, and we got to beat them 3 times. Twice up there at their place, and then once here.
Yep. A lot of highlights last year.
Yep. Unfortunately, we lost in the district championship to Southwind 7-4, but. Overall, pretty good season. Would you consider that to be your second best team since you've been coach here?
Yeah, I would say so, because the previous team went, a little bit further, and
that team went to sub-state, right? Weren't they one game?
No, we got beat in the district final.
District final?
Yeah. So, both really good teams. I don't know. I would say that 2019 was pretty special team.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Yes, it was. So this has to be up there. Like I said, I think it was your second highest win total.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about individual performances. Boy, you had a lot of leaders in the state and the conference. Justice Kelley and Tucker Ladderberg, they finished second in Class 1A in hits.
Yep, in hits.
With 52. Justice led Class 1A in singles.
Yep.
Wasn't that a record, too, for...
That's a school record for when I'm, as far as my stats with my teams.
Right.
Yep.
Were there any other records broke from last year?
I believe
saves. That's what
saves.
Yep. I think with 3.
Yep.
I think it was
3 saves.
3 or 4.
I have down Curley finished with 4.
4?
No, 3.
3 saves.
Yep. Well, Tyler Shore had 2, but yeah, that set a Wapsie record.
Yep.
Well, we had a lot of good individual performances last year.
Tucker had 7 wins, which I've never had a pitcher have that many wins.
Oh, really?
Yep. So that was neat.
Manny Hebner was one of the top in state in a neat category. Remember that? Maybe you do, Collin.
Which one was that? Was it getting hit?
The sacrifice bunt.
Oh, sacrifice bunt. Yeah, that's right.
He finished with 8 out of the season, which was good for... He tied for second in state in that category. But still, I mean, that's an interesting category to lead in, and it helps the team. right? Because you're advancing runners.
Way to go, Manny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it because, he's when he drops down like those bunt situations, we're still looking for him to get a hit out of those. He's got the speed for it, but he's, very good with the bat that just makes sure the bunt gets down. So probably all those sacrifice bunts he was trying to get a base hit out of, but we're still having productive outs in those scenarios.
Yeah, you had Briar Bellis come up as an 8th grader. He led the team, ended up leading the team in walks.
Yeah.
With 23 as an 8th grader, which was really impressive. You had 2 hitters finish with batting averages over 400. I've already met, Justice and Tucker. You had another 2 hitters that finished with batting average over 300 between Jackson and Jake. Jake hit 363, Jackson hit 331. And as a team, you hit 316 for the season. So, what are your thoughts there? I mean, that had to be one of your better. We hit the ball last year really well.
Yeah. There was a lot of categories. We were top 10 in the state in, hits and on base percentage, I believe, and
on base, 418,
RBIs,
418 as a team.
Yeah,
that's just absolutely incredible because what that does, obviously, is it puts a lot of pressure on the opposing pitcher. Right, it's making them work. They get their pitch count up, which is always important at this level.
Yeah, and I know we can't track it at like the high school level, but I bet we were top in the state in hard hit balls too. A lot of our outs were hard hit right at people. And, even a lot of our hits, we're hitting the ball hard, which is what we're preaching. Damage in the box every single time, and our guys go up there with that approach, and we really hit the cover off the ball. And that was even after kind of a slow start to the year. The first couple of weeks, we kind of came out of the gates a little slow in the batter's box, but as the season went on, we really found our groove there, which is kind of what we preach. With this being my second year, we're playing for middle July. We don't want to peak in May. We want to get better every single day, every single week. So we can, we started a little slow, but we were right on the track and really turned around there about halfway through.
Yeah. And it seemed like as the season went on, that just kept keep getting better. Last year's team only had 190 strikeouts as a team.
That's good.
That's 5 a game. So that means they're hitting the ball. They're putting pressure on the not only the opposing pitcher but on the opposing defense too.
Yeah.
We had a lot of reach down errors and a lot of walks. So yeah, overall, I think we hit the ball really well. Let's talk on the pitching side, Coach. What are your thoughts on the pitchers from last year?
Obviously, Tucker did a really good job. We had some young kids step up. Hunter Curley, Briar Bellis was, I believe, a second-team all-conference. He did really well in a couple starts for conference. Garrett Shannon, 6 wins.
Six and
and he had a JV.
As an 8th grader, right?
No, he was a
freshman?
9th grader last year. Yep. His only loss was JV, and then he gets to varsity, he wins 6 games in a row. But, he was good. I thought Tyler Shore did a really good job for us last year.
He is an 8th grader. He was last year.
He was an 8th grader, yes, and proved, he's in the mix for a lot of innings coming up this year and did a really good job last year, too.
Right. And Blake Hesse.
Yes.
Yeah, he's kind of our, for our Braves fans out there, he's kind of our Charlie Morton role. He's going to go out there, he's going to eat innings, he's going to throw strikes.
We're all Cub fans here, except for him.
All right, Drew Smiley, or Kyle Hendricks, we'll go with that. Right, he's going to go out there, he's going to throw strikes, he's not going to walk people. He's going to rely on his defense a lot more than maybe those other guys.
Mr. Yankees fan.
Yeah, right. He'll pound the zone, and the only pitcher we really lost from last year's team was Kane.
Right.
But he went down with an injury. But we have all our arms back, and they're all quality arms.
I'll say one thing about Blake is we had to pull him at pitch count, I think, twice, and he was winning. And if we were allowed to let him go out another inning, he would have finished the job because that kind of kid gets better as the game goes along, in my opinion.
Right. And then you were able to bring in a guy like Hunter Curley late in the game last year. And like you said, he finished with a school record 3 saves. And you brought him in some really tough situations.
Yeah.
And he was able to battle through it and get him out. So
he's got good stuff, good control. And just, keeps us in the game. And, towards the end of the year, he was throwing the ball hard. And curveball started working. And, good things for Hunter coming up this year.
And neat thing that I like about the pitchers is that they're all going to be back.
Quality arms coming out. And, as coaches, you can't ask for more than
Right.
You have what seven varsity innings
And we're
coming back, the guys total.
And we're talking about a lot of freshmen and eighth graders from last year that are now sophomores and freshmen
Right.
on this year's team.
I like they brought up the pitch count with Blake, so now Blake and Hunter they'll have 20 more pitches that they can work with
Right.
this year now that they're sophomores as well.
Yep.
So it'd be nice to play with that, and I'm sure you feel the same way that we have confidence in every single guy that we go out there. There's not going to be a moment where it's like, ooh, we have to bring this guy in or anything. We have confidence that they're going to go out there, they're going to throw strikes, they're going to battle, and we're going to be into a lot of games because of that.
Right. Graduated 4 seniors from last year's team. Coach, you got any thoughts on the seniors that you lost from last year's team?
Well, they were all good leaders,
Oh, yeah.
and they kept the dugout fun, and I missed that already out of those 4. But we're gonna regroup and get ready to go. But yeah, they really did a tremendous job all year for us last year. Just every one of them kept getting better. And Mason Harder, we haven't talked about him much, but he really saved us a lot last year. Kept getting better every game, and Jackson Kuhlman had an outstanding year hitting. We moved him all the way, I think, from 6 or 7 up to like the 4 hole at the end of the year.
Led the team in doubles.
Yep.
13.
Very clutch hitter.
Yep. Second on the team in RBIs with 29.
Yep.
Third in slugging, 458. Yeah, Jackson really came on last. And that was a year after he was hurt his junior year, right? Didn't play at all.
Tore his knee up in a football game junior year and tried to get back, but it was just recommended he take the year off, and we're so glad he came back out.
Right. Yeah, he came through in some clutch situations last year. And Mason Harder, I mean, he from what I understand, he hadn't played since 8th grade.
I believe that's right.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
So for him to come out his senior year, it was just amazing that he got any hits at all, right? I mean, that's very difficult to do.
Yeah, especially the teams that we're playing. We're playing quality teams day in, day out, and you could tell the first couple of games he was getting the rust off. But as the season progressed, we were really, really comfortable and confident with him.
And he got on base. He got his on base percentage ended up being .352, which is a pretty good percentage. And he was normally hitting down to the bottom of the lineup.
Yep.
But he was getting on base, and that led to 24 runs, which is outstanding for somebody that was batting 8th and 9th pretty much the whole season.
Yep. Yeah. Just a natural athlete, and he showed me some power. The first time I threw to him in the cage, the first time that I saw him live, I'm like, wow, he's if he keeps getting better every game, he can help us, and he did. So.
Right. And, we haven't really talked a whole lot about Kane Schmidt. He got hurt, I want to say, it was about 16 games into the season.
Yep.
He tried to make a comeback. I think he did come back for a couple of games, and then I think the doctor just shut him down, and that was pretty much it. At the time, when we lost Kane as our pitcher, he was, I would say, right behind Tucker as far as your dominant starter and pitcher. Even though he played half the season, he still finished 3-2. He ended up with a 292 earned run average. Opponents only hit 194 against him, which was which was better than Tucker's actually.
Yeah.
And that was through 24 innings pitched. On the hitting side, he did struggle a little bit as a hitter, but he at the time he was leading the team in walks. He had 19 walks at the point of time, which was almost twice as many as anybody else had. So he was still getting on base. So that was a real big loss.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you coaches agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure, we didn't have him on the field, but the thing that I absolutely love about Kane is he showed up every single day, even when he was injured.
Yeah.
He's being a leader for those younger guys.
On the road, too.
On the road, he's in the dugout. If someone strikes out, makes a play, a bad play or something, he's the first guy out of the dugout talking to him, right? He sometimes beat us out on the field, just throwing his pointers out there. And, you can't beat that when we can talk till we're purple in the face to some guys, and but when you get it from another voice, from a teammate, a senior leader like that, that's crucial for our team, and those are big shoes to fill.
Yep.
That we're going to miss.
And of course, we've talked quite a bit about Justice already. He had an outstanding season. I'm his dad. I was very impressed with him though, because he I watched his progress all through youth, and a lot of these seniors I got to coach even when they were younger. But Justice just really came on strong last year. He only struck out 7 times.
Yeah.
the entire season. So he was always making contact. He got on base over 50% of the 503 on base percentage, batted 409. You had him at the top of the lineup, played shortstop for you. All four of these kids are going to be pretty big holes,
Yes.
shoes to fill.
No doubt.
So, well, let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about this year's team. Who we've got back. First, Coach, talk to us about the seniors that we have for this year.
We have 4 seniors, Tucker, Jake, Manny, Trayton.
Yep.
Everybody knows them out there. Don't need to say last names. Tucker, Jake, good, gonna play college ball, and that's really neat because I've had one kid try to play in the last 10 years, Mitchell Sovich, but ended up not playing. He was gonna play at Wartburg, and then just decided he couldn't afford it, so he dropped out but they really liked him in the fall when he went there. But now we have Tucker and Jake, and I'm excited to see how their careers take off next year.
Yep. That's really exciting. And they're in for hopefully a big season. Manny, he's a third-year varsity starter for you. Last year he batted 272, which down he actually hit better than that as a sophomore, but he was getting on base, 397 on base percentage. We talked about his bunts. He was doing that for you. Jake, you've got last year you put him a lot in right field. You probably use him quite a bit as catcher this year. Do you think?
The plan is probably, hopefully, make it so he doesn't catch as much. But he's going to catch Tucker. He's going to catch Blake for sure. That just fits well with our team. But we want to try what we can do to get him out to right field.
Strong arm out there.
Yeah,
well, he gone down a couple of runs from right field.
And I think he'll throw some people out at catcher this year too. He looked really good last night in our scrimmage with Independence, and threw some nice balls down there to second.
Good.
So.
And Manny, typically you've had him in left field. You and I were talking earlier today. Sound like you may try him in an infield position?
Yeah, depending on pitching, left field, second base. I mean, he can probably play anywhere, but that's kind of the 2 positions. We want to try to maybe, with our game schedule, we have a lot of games, so we want to try to maybe get him in some pitching this year. I know he wants to do that, and we'll take another arm down there.
Pitched a couple games last year.
Did well last year.
Yeah, he did. Yep. And then Tucker, of course, we know how great he is as a pitcher. He was also your leading hitter last year, batted 437, 521 on base, which led the team, 597 slugging, 30 RBIs. But we can go on and on about him. And that's just the hitting side. I mean, pitching.
Yeah.
And that's what he's going to go on for college, too, right? For pitcher? Or?
I think he's got a shot to do both.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he going to be playing first base when he's not pitching? Is he still going to
I don't
behind
know.
the plate a little bit, or what are your
Currently, he's
thoughts
kind
there?
of the beautiful thing about Tucker is you kind of put him anywhere. So
He played some third base too last year,
yeah,
didn't
he
he?
plays some third, plays some first. We put him at second a couple times, left field, catcher. He's kind of our utility guy. When someone's pitching, that's kind of probably where he'll be.
And then Trayton. For those of you that don't know, Trayton had other things that he did last year, so he wasn't able to go out for the baseball team. He's back for this year. As a sophomore, he was doing really well.
Yeah, he came on at the end of the year, his sophomore year.
Batting 341 as a sophomore, 413 on base. Plus, you use him as a pitcher. He was 4-1 as a sophomore.
Yep, second team all conference.
So what do you see the plan for him? Losing a year, I'm sure has got to be tough. He played an excellent center fielder, but boy, Briar Bellis is just outstanding in center field. So might have to mix him around too. Or
the plan's probably left field and pitching. We'll get him out there. He's going to concentrate on state track. We'll get him out there when that's done in a couple weeks, and just give him some starts and see what he can do for us.
Okay. And then the other returning star, you got 2 others. Blake, your third baseman from last year, he's back this year. Briar Bellis, we just talked about him. He's absolutely outstanding. He's got to be one of the better center fielders defensively in the state. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yes.
Ball goes up, Briar's got it.
Yeah. he's really fast.
Yeah.
And gets great jumps on the ball, and he's got a cannon for an arm. If you need him to throw somebody out, he's going to throw somebody out. So
For you Cub fans, he reminds me of PCA,
he
right?
does. He does.
A little bit?
Yep.
I'll give you that.
Very much so.
He's got the same body build too.
Yeah.
It's very similar. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Probably hits better than him too, right? He was really coming on last year, toward the end of last year as a hitter.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And he has such good zone awareness when he's batting. That's what leads to so many walks. And
23 walks last year.
like he crowds the plate. Kind of got that Anthony Rizzo approach a little bit. Just crowds the plate, knows the zone very well.
No
And,
fear.
I think he led the state in lineouts.
yeah, he hit the ball hard.
I don't know how many times he hit it to second base, and the guy didn't move, and
Right.
it was a line drive
And he did this as an 8th grader.
as an 8th grader.
That's
Yep.
just, it's so exciting to think of how well that he's going to be as he,
Yep.
goes through.
And he's committed, to baseball. He's out there every single day, putting in the work, and that's kind of what we're looking for.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about some of the newer varsity starters that you're expecting to see. Probably see some Garrett at second base.
Garrett's short second pitcher, Garrett Shannon. Yep, he came on at the end of the year last year and did a nice job. And
Got 8 hits for you last year.
Yep, we're
toward the end of the season.
looking for good things out of Garrett.
Okay. And then Hunter Curley, we're probably going to see him a lot at first base, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's the plan. He's gonna probably play a little bit of first. Obviously, pitching. Great lefty, left-handed arm. Really, really athletic kid, as you saw probably on the football field this year. Super athletic. Really good at first. I just like his attitude too. He shows up every day, puts the work in. He's kind of keeps guys accountable in the dugout, and in BP, he's making sure everyone's doing their job. He's kind of fit that role really well for him. I just love his work ethic as a sophomore.
And you might, and I know we talked about this earlier, you might use him as a first base and then use the DH position for his spot, just to give him a chance to develop his bat a little bit more in the junior varsity. Would you?
I would think, just to get everybody, the kids we want to get in, we probably have maybe a good number of 12 that we're going to try to get varsity for the first couple weeks. And, things change daily, weekly, but we've got 12 kids we want to try to work in.
Okay.
And Hunter will play some outfield, too. He's really good in the outfield, too.
He's a very athletic kid.
Very athletic. He was my junior high shortstop a couple of years ago as a left-hander.
Well, who's going to be your shortstop this year?
We have a couple, really.
Maybe Garrett a couple of games?
Garrett, Tyler's doing a nice job swinging the bat well. I think they both can play both positions really well.
I saw him in the cage just tonight. Tyler he was hitting some line drives.
Yeah, his bat's been coming around. Yeah, they both came up as shortstops in travel ball, so we know they can play there. But we also might need them at second too. It all depends on which pitcher's out there.
Yep. Because they all pitch too.
Yeah.
So you're gonna see a lot of movement this year. The players moving around. When Tom comes in to make a pitching change, expect 2 or 3 other moves as well.
Yeah.
Which causes havoc for us scorekeepers, right?
Yeah.
Blake's behind the scenes there, nodding his head.
We're gonna go for the 9 position swap one time this year, just for fun.
Oh, that'll be fun at
We're gonna move
catcher.
9 different guys around. It's gonna be great.
Right. Talk about some of the newer Caden Dana. Is that his name? Am I pronouncing his name right? I got to see him in a couple of JV games last year, and boy, his bat looked like it was really coming on. And boy, that young man is fast.
Yeah, he's had a great spring. He's one of our hit leaders in spring ball. He continues it right into the summer. We're going to try to get him out there, and he's great on the bases.
Used him as a courtesy runner quite a bit last year on varsity.
Yep. So
I had a nice double last night to lead off the game for us. He hits the ball hard. And he's another one. He's got great work ethic out on the field. He comes in and gets his work done. Usually a positive attitude out on the field. And
he loves baseball.
Couple other players that we may see. Logan Sauerbrei. He played a little bit of varsity last year. I think he started a game last year, if I remember right. Got a couple of hits and a really big situation, if I remember correctly. Drove in a couple of runs even. How's he looking so far this year?
Well, he's battling through an injury right now, but he's got such a nice swing, and we're hoping that he can get that bat going for us, and we'll give him some opportunities, and hopefully he stays healthy for us. I know it's a kind of a nagging injury right now, but he says it's getting better, and good. We need good things out of Logan this year.
Are we going to see your boy on
Yep.
varsity?
Yep,
Talk about TJ.
TJ's been hitting the ball pretty good. He does a good job at first base. He was a little bit nervous last night, but I think he'll continue to get better as the season goes along.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He's got a lot of power in that bat.
Yep.
If we can get it out of him, right?
Yep. Hitting is his strength. So.
Right. Right. Let's talk a little bit about what we're going to see for pitching this year. Kind of touched on it a little bit. Where do you see the depth chart on pitchers this year, Tom?
I would say we're going to start with about 7 varsity pitchers, and then maybe 8, 9 if we need them. One of those, our 9th guy, would probably be a JV for a couple weeks, but I think he's got the potential to give us some innings later in the year. We've got everyone back. I mean, Tucker and Hunter and Garrett and Breyer and Blake. And
Trayton's back.
And
Right.
Tyler.
I feel a little spoiled with our rotation going into the year right now.
I've never had this much pitching depth, which is nice.
I don't know of too many Class 1A schools that can list. I've got 8, many of 9 different pitchers.
I would feel comfortable with 9 right now.
Wow, that's incredible.
7 the first couple weeks, and maybe a couple guys that we could use after that.
Right.
And the beautiful thing too is it doesn't cut into our JV rotation that much either. We still got JV pitchers that
So you got more coming then.
that are coming up too, that are getting their innings in on the JV level and a chance to kind of prove themselves there too. So it's not like we have 9 total on the roster. Realistically, we probably got 14, 15 total arms on our team.
We just called up a couple 8th graders that both pitched well in junior high ball last year, and they'll get some junior high or some JV innings this year. Dawson Fenton and Riker Oberly
Wow.
both can pitch too.
Okay.
So
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know you've got Tucker. Tucker's probably going to be your frontline starter, but after that, it is not going to drop off very much. Just Hunter Curley is going to give you some big innings. Blake Hesse, I'm sure, is going to be back really strong this year.
Yes.
Both throw the ball really hard. They've got good secondary pitches.
very good. All of them have good curveballs. Really good curveballs.
And Garrett Shannon, I mean, you mentioned he came up late last year for varsity, and he was just outstanding. I mean, his ERA was like 1.
He's probably our best strike thrower. I think early in the year we were in the gym and my boy was catching him. TJ said, "Dad, he threw nothing but strikes." And it was the first practice of the year. So Garrett's going to throw strikes.
I'm sure TJ appreciated that too.
Yeah, he did.
Briar Bellis, I mean, I'm sure you're going to use him quite a bit. Tyler Shore was brought in on some tight late game situations last year.
Yep.
You mentioned Trayton Sauerbry. He was a big arm for you 2 years ago. So, I mean, I'm sure you're going to want to see what's in the tank, and he hasn't pitched in a year, but he could be another pitcher that you can really count on as well.
Right.
And you mentioned Manny Hebner. You might use him. Landon Molds, you mentioned that.
Landon Molds. Yep. Probably start him off JV, but he was really good. Throws the ball hard. Really good for me last year in junior high, and
we got some big JV innings last year too.
Yeah, got some
spot starts
some
there.
JV innings, and he's another one that could help us down the road.
Big season ahead. We've got a lot of interesting players out. I think it's going to be a big season. I can't wait for it to get going. What's really interesting is that you've got such a big gap between your upperclassmen. You've got 4 seniors, and then it drops all the way down to sophomores and freshmen. So you've got you've got some experience, but you've got so many young players. And what's neat is a lot of these young players already have a lot of varsity experience. So that's going to play huge for you this year. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, we got Blake, 3-year starter this year. Breyer started last year. Tyler got some big innings. Garrett playing at the end. So they're young, but they're experienced. Even Hunter, he pitched a lot of crucial varsity innings for us. So they're sophomores and freshmen really in just title alone. They got plenty of experience that they're coming back with that is super fun to play with.
Well, Coach, what are your thoughts on the schedule for this season?
Tough.
Yeah.
We want it to be tough. We play a lot of games. The good teams play a lot of games. I know there's people out there that gripe about how many games we play. In order to get to state, you got to play the games.
As a fan, I love it.
Yeah, and I think the players do too.
Right. You've already played a scrimmage. What was it, last night? Last night against Independence.
Yep.
I think that one got rained out on you, but that game was competitive.
Yeah.
Independence is going to be a very good team, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Class 3A, aren't they?
Yep. We got down a little bit early and then fought back, and no doubt in my mind it would have been a battle to the end, but we had it called for lightning, and that, I thought our kids did very well, though.
Waterloo East is going to be our first game of the year. That's going to be next Monday night, the 13th. I don't know when this video will be posted, but it'll be Monday night at Waterloo. They came in and just really handed us our lunch last year.
Yep.
They were a little stronger than what we figured, too.
Yeah, they're good.
I would agree.
And maybe our team was a little intimidated. They came in with a nice chartered bus, and here we go from town to town in an old rickety school bus. I'm just kidding. It's not old and rickety. Administrators have got nice buses.
Yeah, we got our Flintstones out, so.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks looking through the schedule here, I see Hudson. Hudson's usually fairly strong.
They'll be very good.
Jessup's is within our own conference. They've been pretty much a pain in our butts, right? For lack of a better word.
Yep, very well coached.
They are.
And they always have kids ready to battle you, and they play good defense, and they got always a good couple, 3 pitchers that throw the ball in there. They got a really good one coming back, Jack Miller.
Is he finally a senior?
He's finally a senior. Yep. So,
by the way, his dad was from Wapsie, I believe.
Yeah, what happened there?
If you're watching. I think the team we need to watch out for in conference, though, and tell me if you agree with Sumner. Sumner looked really good last year, and I know they've got a lot of good players back from last year.
Lots of juniors and seniors, very good classes, those 2 classes for them, and plenty of good pitchers, and they'll hit the ball and field the ball well, and yeah, they're a really good team.
Right, and Union, they were improving last year. O-line looked better last year, so we can't take any of these teams in our conference play for granted. And then you've got a lot of other tough teams scheduled. We're going back up to New Albin.
Yep.
Looking forward to that weekend, I'll bet.
I thought they graduated a kid, but they have everyone back.
Key
has everyone back. I thought that Cameron Lind was a senior, but he was only a junior last year. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I see MFL Marmax back on the schedule. We beat them last year at their place, but
they beat New Hampton. They beat New Hampton in the playoffs. So
yeah,
MFL is going to be a good team.
Yeah, and I see Dykes back on the schedule. So it'll be interesting for us to see how the season progresses, right? Tom, before we sign off, talk a little bit about the ballpark, or what can we expect when fans show up to the games? What are some improvements that we have?
Well, we got some new black turf that is really playing nice in our foul ground. That's an improvement there. We did some new turf right outside our dugouts. We got a new black padding now that stretches from dugout to dugout.
Yeah, no more wooden boards.
No more balls bouncing off the boards.
Yep. And I've got some plans. We won't have them up unless I get on it, but we're going to put some foul poles up. That'll be coming up soon.
Wow. So our ballpark for a Class 1A school is just absolutely outstanding. I mean, it's come a long ways. We got the lights last year.
Yep.
You put down some new turf. We've got the new backstop. You got a new batting cage. Look like that was up today. So I mean, we've got something to be proud of here at Wapsie Valley. So make sure you come out and support the team. And it's night baseball. You don't have to come out in the heat. You get to come out when it's nice and cool and enjoy the games. Now that we've got the lights, but yeah, it's nice improvements. Wrap it up, folks. What do you guys think? What are your expectations for this season? What are your goals?
Yeah, biggest goal for me is, we're playing for the middle of July.
Yep.
Winning conference pod and all that is cool, but at the end of the day, we're trying to get better every single day. We're playing for July. We're playing for that playoff atmosphere. We got that sour taste in our mouth from last year a little bit. Carrying that into this year, just get better every single day. We're playing for July, and that's the goal.
Coach Joecken, State.
I want to go State really bad. 31 wins is another goal of mine. I think this team is very capable of 31 wins. We have a really tough schedule, but we can get on a roll and make it happen.
Right. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for watching this video. I'm going to be back as your play-by-play announcer. I'm looking forward to it this year. I am planning on bringing coaches in for post-game shows, so if you're going to be watching the live stream, make sure you stick around after the game. I'm going to try to grab a coach to talk about the game, and maybe even a player too, to give their thoughts. Maybe we'll have like a player of the game. So we're trying to widen the live stream. I hope you guys are enjoy it. Guys, keep in mind our sponsors. The sponsors are the ones that help make these live streams happen. They're the ones that are able to make it to where we can broadcast these live streams for free. So if you appreciate the efforts, make sure you support those sponsors. I'm sure Blake will post a link to where if you want to make some donations directly, you're more than able to do that. But let's have fun this year. Come out to the ballpark. Come enjoy the concession stands. I'm sure there's going to be that pulled pork nachos out there that everybody loves. But come out and support this team. So see you at the ballpark.